Hello and welcome back to Take a Sip podcast. I'm Leche.
And I'm Tito.
And Tito, what are you drinking today, man?
I'm drinking a Modelo.
Modelo? Ooh,
Modelo.
nice, dude. I wish I had one of those.
What about you?
I am about to open up an Angry
Nice.
Orchard right now.
Gotta love that sound.
Yeah, dude, that crisp sound, dude. We gotta add that in there, man.
Yeah, always.
And today's topic, we're gonna be going over a few things. Actually, I was gonna open up with some impressions, first impressions, thoughts of how this new drop for Destiny came out, Beyond Light, on like what we think about it so far, what we look forward to, what's like some pain points that they still haven't fixed and stuff like that. Maybe that you have, Tito, or that I have. We could just go over a few things if you want. Let's start with you, dude. What was your first impression so far with the story? And
so there's some positives and negatives, obviously, because it's a game. There's going to be controversy, whether some people like it or some people don't. I like playing devil's advocate, as we've heard before multiple times. But so I liked that they kept like the type of. Well, first of all, it's very similar to the Forsaken, with the main person you're gonna go up against, and then they're like generals that you have to like defeat first before you get to that main
so
main enemy.
It felt like Forsaken type, like you killing the Barons before you go and kill the main guy, stuff like that. Pretty much.
Exactly, and like the main guy ends up being the strike that you end up doing. So, what was her name?
Not in this case, actually.
Well, yeah, not 100%. It started off that way, right?
Yeah. It seemed like it was gonna go that direction, but
yeah. One thing I did appreciate. Well, first of all, let's go into Europa. Beautiful place, beautiful map,
beautiful design, atmosphere.
Oh yeah, like even just the whole white and blue, because it's a snowy planet, icy planet. The weather system.
Yeah, that really screwed me over a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean it has its minor issues where I get what they're trying to make with the whole blizzard thing, where like it's so hard to see what's in front of you. You have to be careful. But you also gotta lighten it up a little bit, because then it makes traveling the map so difficult. Like when us and Sam from the clan, like we just completely got lost, even though there is a waypoint. And then we check the map, and then you and Sam are like over there, and I'm on the completely other side of the area. Like,
yeah, we struggled.
It was hard. That was much. I think we struggled more with getting to the actual mission than with the mission.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Yeah, like their dynamic weather stuff. Yeah, it's definitely like it's awesome, but at the same time, like you said, it's a pain. It's a pain at the same time that it's like clever. Like it's making you actually look through your scope of those specific weapons that have the, what is it called, the
like tracking thingy.
Yeah, that track enemies and stuff like that. So it makes you want to use those weapons more, which is kind of like convenient for them. So like, hey, if you want to look through the storm and get these specific weapons, you know.
Oh yeah. I did like that enemies were now much more difficult.
Agreed.
Like even now playing solo, I'm always on edge. I have to play a little bit more conservatively than what I'm normally used to. Especially you as a Titan, where it is get in there, blow things up, get out. Now you can't do that as much.
Yeah, seriously.
Now, first of all, we both know I hate playing Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
Crucible, and now with Stasis, I don't want to play it at all.
Yeah, it's how would I say it? It's a complete shit show.
Constantly getting frozen.
Yeah,
And
dude.
then you stay frozen and let it finish, you die. You try to fight it and get out early, you
You die.
die. The only way you get out of it alive is if your opponent is super sucky at aiming, shooting. Someone in person tackles them to the floor that they lose the
Or one
control.
of your teammates literally comes by and saves your life.
Like a literal save.
Yeah. No, that I agree. Like the Crucible right now is definitely in a weird spot. I mean, it's only been what, like a week, and reset just recently happened where they just updated it, including the new season that just popped up.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been a week. I think Bungie's just letting people fiddle around, mess around with the subclasses, getting used to it and whatever. There's definitely things they gotta nerf 100%.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, their main focus right now is the Wither Horde, because that was a
Yeah,
little
that
bit.
was
It's currently disabled because it just completely bugged out.
yeah, it would cause extra damage, like what is it called? What is it called?
AoE.
AoE damage overall. Like the ticks would
Mhm.
accelerate if you stayed on it for more than like 2 seconds or something like that.
It's almost an instant kill, even though it doesn't directly hit you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
still an
once they're
instant
out of
kill.
it, it kills them regardless too, because they're still taking tick damage for some reason.
Mhm. Yeah, almost like the thorn poison that normally happens. It still like lingers, and it's an instant death, like basically.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then yeah, like you've obviously played a lot more than I have recently. But from what I'm seeing and even from what I've heard, first of all, the warlock subclass now with stasis is completely off the rails.
Yeah, out of all
Even
three classes, I agree on that.
even me as a warlock, yeah, like
Like, whoa, yeah, this
I
is
don't
too
even
much.
want to play against myself, and I pretty much suck. And to have that amount of power, and then I feel like Titans when they're running stasis, they're so much easier now because they run so slow.
Yeah, it was a good change, dude. It's like they they upped their movement, especially with that subclass, dude. It feels
Mhm.
way better playing as a Titan now. Since I main
Does it?
Titan, it
Mm.
feels way better.
All right. I mean, yeah. Like I said, there's ups and downs to everything in a type of video game. Like you said, they are letting us just play right now before they probably do like a super late hot fix type of things where they shut servers down
Mhm.
for a bit to
Yeah,
install these new fixes.
I say before Christmas, they're definitely gonna like you know
Mm-hmm.
bring the servers down for like a good 2 hours in the morning and just like, hey, like we're doing some fine tuning, like tuning some supers here and there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But right now, like people definitely, you know, I guess they're jumping the gun, like saying this expansion is bad or it's really good. Like I rather hold my breath a little bit more longer
Mm-hmm.
because it's only week one. We've only
Yeah.
finished week one. I want to
Yeah.
give a fair assessment of how this DLC is until like probably week 4, like a full month in. That's when you could actually assess the game correctly, in my opinion.
Exactly. Like when the full expansion is fully out. Because right now they're just giving us bits and pieces.
Yeah, so like they're drip feeding us pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And also, like with this whole new Beyond Light, the whole vaulting thing that we've went over a couple of times, there's people having problems with that because, like, it's the whole like, oh well, then why not just make a whole new game? If we do that, it's gonna be another year and a half, maybe 2 years
Probably
before we get
more,
a
dude.
Destiny 3. Well, I'm saying
Yeah.
like if they started from back when
Oh
being
yeah, if they
Ryan
started
was
from
talking
scratch,
about,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, and like to still be able to include all of this, imagine how much more space that's going to be on your console, on your PC, what you're going to have to run to be able to play it. Like it's ridiculous. They did this to help us in a way, so we're not. Because I feel like I have like a whole, what is it, terabyte thing, and I feel like most of it is Destiny.
Yeah.
Like now that they gave me space back, I'm much more grateful, and I can feel like I can buy and download more games for my Xbox. Well, I'm working on my PC next, so
Yeah, hopefully that gets going, dude. Seriously.
yeah. Let me find the house first.
Yeah. Priorities first. Let that go first.
Yeah. All right.
But story wise, what do you think of the story so far of the game? Was it good or was it like okay or
I'm
I mean
enjoying it.
I think it was our first female villain.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
full female villain. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
Oryx was, according to his, lore and stuff like that, he was a girl and then whatever,
Hmm.
that whole situation that gets convoluted within the Destiny lore and stuff like that.
Well,
But
I think for this expansion, we're seeing a lot more female
yeah,
antagonists because
I've seen
even
that. Yeah.
the whole Omnigul thing, Oryx's sister might be taking up the throne for the Taken Thrall. Well, I don't. I think we might be seeing a lot more.
Yeah, which is
Um. Mhm.
it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. My only thing though, it's like a minor thing, but
Yeah,
it again, like people have also mentioned it. It's like, why include Eris and the Drifter so much
I agree on this. They
for just
overhyped
the,
them.
yeah, for like the one little fight they had with the stranger.
Like maybe within the lore books that you get, like maybe there's more significance there. But since I wish they told us within the game, within
Yeah, the
the
cutscene.
story missions and stuff like that, like hey, like you're gonna meet Drifter here and there because he was helping us out in the end or something like that. Some crazy stuff, or Eris is
Yeah,
meeting you here or saved you from this mission and stuff like
or it's
that.
like, let alone like, how do they know each other so well?
Exactly.
The stranger's a time traveler. The Drifter was technically never part of the whole um light guardians, whatever. Well, he was at one point, but he turned his back to like the whole group, like Zavala and Ikora and
Mhm.
Cade. And then Eris was lost to the darkness for God knows how many years before we rescued her, quote unquote.
I think it's just Eris gave up on the light and she says there has to be something stronger, something better out there to use against the darkness, and she thinks the darkness itself is what we have to wield to fight it. So you're right in that sense.
But again, like um, it just could have gone. They could have just made it like a little bit more smoother than us having
Yeah.
to like fill in these blanks
Yeah,
over
like
time.
yeah, fill in these blanks with whatever you want. Like, no, dude, just tell us what it's supposed to be in there. Simple,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's one of those little um the little snippets after you finish a mission and they give you some like
More story, like
yeah,
when you
like
talk to them.
yeah, so I wish they just give you that at least to tell you like, hey, the drifter came with you, to do this and that or something like that, or Eris did this and that for you and stuff like that.
Exactly. I mean,
Missed
they must
opportunity.
always. I mean, there's always going to be those missed opportunities in games, but for the most part, I'm enjoying the whole thing right now.
Yeah, same.
That might change depending on how the next few weeks roll out.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, yeah, it's just a waiting game, playing and seeing where they go with it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. In the case of me with Destiny, I'm trying to, with a few clan members, trying to level up as quickly as possible to try to attempt, um, well, Destiny and a few other games do pretty much the same thing, where they have like world's first for specific events that happen within their games. Like
Mm-hmm.
for example, just recently, Call of Duty Cold War, um, when they released their zombies, I think the first in the world to complete the Easter egg was, I believe his name was Noah with his group, and they did it within like 2 hours and a half. So like stuff like that, like those are special events that happen to every video game and stuff like that when new releases
Yeah.
come. So
Mm-hmm.
Destiny has similar things. This is just like general context for like for people, for the audience, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those events come once in a while, once a year for some games like Destiny, where a new
Mm-hmm.
raid comes out, which is a 6-man activity that like pretty much puts the limits of your team, like
To the test. Yeah.
strategically wise, like it makes you do puzzles and stuff like that, or kill really difficult enemies. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so me and some of our clanmates from our clan for Destiny, we're gonna attempt to do it that first day. I mean, we might not get worlds first, definitely not. That's out of the question. Um, but definitely try to complete it within the 24 hours. So
Yeah. Um, I guess I'll have to try to clear my books and see if I could join you guys, if unless you guys have a full team already.
I don't think so. I think we're still assembling stuff, but you know, it's
Yeah.
definitely tough.
Oh yeah, especially like when not everyone's on like all day, or
Mhm.
sometimes we don't know the play style of other people. I mean,
Yep.
me, yourself, and Andre, like we've played so long, like we know. It's almost like an unspoken language that we have, that we know who's gonna take what side, who partners up with who for like the difficult things, and we always have an open
Mhm.
communication between us. So
Yeah. So
it's harder with strangers. Well, not full strangers, but
not full strangers, but they're definitely newer to play with than we're
Mhm.
used to because we've been playing for years. And these guys, I think we've barely played under a year with them.
Yeah,
So
I miss our old raid team,
the classic raid team,
the
dude.
classic raid team.
Fucking overshooting tethers, bro. Oh god.
No,
I can't.
not that one. Not Ruano.
The guys that got tether. Oh, I missed. Oh my
It's
god.
like he moved. It's like
Dude,
he's literally frozen in place right now.
it's literally a tank. It barely moves.
It
Oh
moves into place and then it stays there.
man. Oh man.
No, but I mean, yeah. I mean, at this point, we could just try. Obviously, there's better gamers out there than we are, but you never know. We might get lucky. We might have some diamonds in the rough on our team.
Yeah, dude, seriously. That's what I'm hoping for, dude. Like I want those specific people that I'm actually looking out for. I won't say their
Mm-hmm.
names or anything like that, but I want them to be the ones that step up in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
fingers crossed on that. There's
Oh,
two
for sure.
teams I'm going to be looking out for to get worlds first. Worlds first always, I feel like now since Destiny moved to PC, it's definitely going to get done by a PC team first.
Oh,
100%.
100%. Yeah.
I'm looking for team. I think their name is Math Class, which is Dado's clan, pretty much his team. I'm looking forward for them to get worlds first. I want them to get worlds first. Dado has been cheated from worlds first for the last 6 years. Poor man.
I know, and he's such a great
Yeah, dude. They call him
player.
the dad of Destiny for a reason, dude.
Mm-hmm. Well,
He's the
he
guy
just
who literally started like Destiny videos, guides, and stuff like that. So
oh yeah. What
And
was I gonna say?
I was gonna
I
say the
forgot.
second team I'm looking forward to is of course one of the guys I watch on Twitch always.
Glad.
His team Redeem, which is Sweatcicle, and his team.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to seeing him get another world's first because he claimed world's first for Last Wish,
Hmm.
which him and his team completed in 18 hours.
Jesus.
And the first run was done in 18 hours, dude. uh, that's
I
nuts,
don't.
dude. To even think about, they stayed up that long just to do one raid.
Well, let's be real. Like even our own group chat last night, we did just say we were up to like almost 4 a.m. either playing or doing homework or whatever. But
So yeah,
staying late for us is not out of the park either.
yeah, it's nothing new in our book.
Hmm. But I mean, yeah, I mean, time to grind. Time to grind. We got till what, the
Seriously,
21st?
we have until the 21st. We have
Okay.
until this current Saturday for us, which is the 17th, to level up pretty much and get our guardians up to
What's the
snuff and
next?
get ready and stuff like that. Yeah, and going off from there from Destiny,
Hmm.
we could probably take a small break here and we're back. Coming back from our break, I wanted to get into our second topic, which I've been
Hmm.
looking forward to. Talking about scary stories, talk about like classic scary stories, internet stories, like those I think they're known as creepy pastas, which is just like internet scary stories like
Hmm.
Slenderman, stuff like that. Just want to get tidbits. I know we did a little bit of research on ones that we found interesting and wanted to get like into a little bit more and stuff.
Yeah.
Um I'll start with mine. One
Hmm.
that I've always found fascinating. That's kind of a classic, and it started like way back, dude, when the internet was still kind of fresh to people.
I'm
Um,
not gonna sleep tonight. I
I
already
mean,
spoke about how much of a struggle it was for me to watch you playing Slenderman. Now to go into these stories, like in person, like looking it up and stuff, I'm not gonna
yeah,
sleep.
I know some of these stories are pretty disturbing. Not gonna lie,
Yeah,
they're
the way
pretty.
they start sometimes.
They're kind of yeah. Freaking.
All right, but yeah, you start.
So the first person I chose was Jeff the Killer. I know some people, some classic people on the internet, people probably our age would know who Jeff the Killer is if they were back in the internet in those early days.
Hmm.
So Jeff the Killer was a 13-year-old boy who was bullied in school, and his bullies chased him one day from his from school to his house and burned his house down with um yeah, he was sorry. He was bullied in school, but he also was bullied at home by his parents. So
Sure.
he had pretty much nobody with him. And his bullies
Hmm.
one day when his parents weren't home chased him home from school and burnt his house down with him in it. And on top of that, Jeff was like what is it called? He had he has some psychological issues before even before being bullied.
They always do.
Yeah.
They they all start like that.
So once his house was set on fire and he actually lived, his face was deformed and burnt. His
Hmm.
nose was burnt off. His
Oh,
eyelids were burnt off, and some of the pieces of the house fell on top of his mouth and made him have a permanent smile because they cut some of his freaking upper lips wide open.
so he became the Joker.
Yeah, by the looks of it, yeah, sort of. But on top of that, like his parents were nowhere to be like they were kind of relieved that he died, or quote unquote died, and he kind of lost his sanity,
Yeah, who wouldn't?
and then he seeked revenge on killing his parents first and killing everyone that bullies and stuff like that, and going after like anyone that pretty much deserves to be killed.
So he's what's the term?
The psychopath.
No, but I mean like he he's a bad guy, but for good. Um,
An anti-hero.
and you know,
No,
like that.
but no, dude.
Well,
You would
obviously
say that,
not,
but
but
he he likes to psychologically mess with people first, and then he has physical strength and
oh
like
gosh.
and stuff like that. So he's like a supernatural being out of nowhere too, and he's known to like stalking his victims first and like vandalizing their homes, and then he kind of kidnaps them, tortures
Mhm.
them, and then after he just straight up murders them after that.
Oh no. And if you guys really want to get stuck with nightmares, look up images so you have an
Of his
idea
face.
on. I mean, you've had to have seen his face somewhere on the internet by now, but
Yeah, I mean, I could quickly explain how he looks like. He's literally extremely pale. Like his skin is literally white, burned off eyelids, giving him
yeah,
like more of a ghostly appearance than anything else. Since he's been living for years and stuff like that. So,
yeah. I
and he
mean,
looks like an average Joe type of person. He wears a white, a white hoodie and black skinny
mhm,
jeans. They even have
mhm.
that as him.
Oh wait, that's part of. I never realized that. I've always just seen pictures of like his head. I never realized he had like
Yeah,
clothes on and
yeah,
stuff.
like he has a full getup. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Um, yeah, I've definitely like seen pictures and stuff of him like floating on the internet, like the creepy side of the internet. When you go into those holes of like, let me just give myself nightmares tonight. But yeah, I never knew that was like his story.
Yeah, he's definitely a creepy one that picture always buried me. And then like there's people on the internet that do his story justice by like doing it creepily and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely recommend for people to look that up and just like hear his backstory by those people. I wish I had an example, but I don't. I would just like, Google him. I mean, YouTube search him real quick. And it's really interesting. Just hearing about him and the stories is kind of insane.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah, there was one guy on YouTube, uh, Bill Billy Styler. He does a lot of great like YouTube videos of like just creepy internet stuff. Um, some that we'll talk about right now. Like he goes over Slenderman, Siren Head. He goes into like others. The what are the those creatures in like in the facilities? The like AS whatevers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, into like all of those. Like he just does really good on them. Like definitely give his channel a view on YouTube. Again, it's Billy Styler. I actually, ooh, it's just creepy.
No, I hear you, dude. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, for Jeff, I think um one of his like famous quotes, I guess, that people make it seem that he pops up at night when you're sleeping is literally, when you like I don't know where you wake up at night. He literally just go to sleep, like go
Oh
to
no!
sleep.
No 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 no!
Just imagine a, a white face at night coming to you, literally. go to sleep.
I'm gonna shit my bed tonight. I swear to God.
Oh man, dude. That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
I know you had one, Tito.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, this is just us getting creeped out as 20-something-year-olds. A story or stories that a lot of sometimes our parents told us. I've heard it the first time I went to Guatemala. And even it's still said a lot in South and Central America. The story of La Llorona.
Classic.
Mm-hmm. So everyone knows this new movie that just came out. Whatever. It's that old school parents tell you creepy stories type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So La Llorona translates to the weeping woman or the wailer. So there's a lot of different like stories of how she begins, but the most common one is just a typical woman. Her name is Maria. She marries a rich ranchero, and they have 2 children together. Okay, seems fine. Lady meets a man, they get married, have kids. Eventually, Maria sees her husband with another woman, and she goes into this fit of rage. In this fit of rage, she changes into her wedding dress, and she grabs her 2 children, takes them to the nearest river, and drowns them.
Dude.
Once after she drowns them, she immediately regrets it. She pulls them out, tries to resuscitate them, but because nothing is happening, she starts crying, "My children, my children," and eventually drowns herself. But because of the guilt of drowning her own kids, her spirit was not allowed to move into the afterlife.
Yeah.
Like it was keeping her from going.
Soul. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now the story is late at night, if you're near pretty much bodies of water, but she could appear just about anywhere. She'll roam the streets. Crazy wind is happening, and you'll hear her crying, "My children, my children. Someone help my children." And it's pretty much her yelling that to see who is willing to come out of their house and quote unquote help her, but it is her way of luring people to their death. Which is why in the movie, the most recent movie, but there have been other movies made about her as well. The main 3 things you'll always see is the water, whether it's like dripping from the ceiling or where she was standing, her white dress, her wedding dress with the white veil to like cover her face, and her wailing, her yelling, her crying,
her infamous wailing, supposedly.
Oh my gosh. Like I said, my first time going to Guatemala,
hearing those stories.
It's like first of all, I'm meeting this side of my family for the first time, and the first things they tell me at night is better go to sleep or La Llorona is gonna get you.
Instead of the bed bugs.
Who wants to hear that? Yeah, you don't have bed bugs. It's La Llorona.
All right, thanks.
But yeah, like I said, it's a story mostly told to scare kids. Story, quote unquote, obviously us being Latinos and growing up Catholic, our view on spirits and ghosts are different than most people.
I just like to keep an open mind. on
Yeah,
stuff like that.
for sure. But I mean, I'm gonna let you tell it because you probably know it a lot better than I do. Your dad's story with La Llorona. I don't know if you know it.
I vaguely remember it too.
Vaguely, right?
Vaguely, like super vaguely. I know it's something about him and his brother and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think they were out fishing late at night, and then it
So
got
I think,
too late.
yeah. So I think the story that I remember goes that they went fishing and they came like they were young. I think they were like in their teens and they were at the Rio freaking fishing late at night, even though their mom told them not to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when they were walking back, it was pitch black, according to my dad, like up to the point where you can't even see your hands in front of your face black.
Like not even with the moonlight out.
Yeah, like the moonlight barely helped. He said, like it would only barely like break through the thickness of the forest that they were going through and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So my uncle, he said that he was gonna be right back because he needed to go to the bathroom because there was an outhouse near there.
Mm-hmm.
So he went off, and my dad stayed back, like preparing, like the fishing lures back in and stuff like that, like preparing to leave.
Packing
That my
everything up.
Yeah, like packing everything up, getting ready to leave. Where he heard um my uncle, his brother, um like call for help, but it was like a whisper.
Mm-hmm.
And he like my dad like kind of like looking around like, oh, like I thought you went to the bathroom, like yelling at him like, oh, like what's wrong, do you need help, joking at first, like stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
then he heard it again, another whisper like, oh no, like I need your help, ayúdame,
Mm-hmm.
like small helps and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He kept looking around, my dad like looking for him, and he couldn't see. Then he said the next thing he noticed, um across the river was a little white like strip, like that was really far,
Mm-hmm.
of someone standing there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is again, I'm kind of creeping myself out just telling the story a
Right.
little. Like
Doesn't help that it's almost midnight.
yeah, like he says like it's pitch black, middle of the night. For some reason, they're fishing.
Yeah.
But
We get it. There's a lot of plot holes in this story, but
yeah,
I
but
mean,
this is just a general gif that I remember.
yeah. Let alone when Leche's dad tells stories, he says it so convincingly.
Like even if it's fake, like you don't even know. It's pretty good.
He could tell you the story on how he was an ogre, had to go save a princess, but every time, and you would believe it. Like the way he just says it, like literally the premise of Shrek as if it was him. You would believe it.
That he is. No, all right, back to the story. Once he saw that white strip across the river,
Mm-hmm.
he said that he did not turn around. He looked, he turned around and tried not to turn around again. He's like, no. And then he was yelling out to my uncle, like Oti, Oti, yelling, he just yelling at him, like, are you almost done? Are you almost out?
Mm-hmm.
Just yelling at him.
Yeah. So again, to be able to see that white strip in the pitch black darkness, you know something's wrong right there.
Yeah. Like, oh no. Oh my god. Then my dad said he closed his eyes and just started yelling at my uncle like, oh, you gotta come out here, I saw something. Just him freaking out. Mm-hmm. Then my uncle came out just yelling at him. Like, what are you talking about? What are you seeing out here? There's nobody out here. That just gave my dad a scare because he really thought he saw La Llorona that day because he heard the little wails after he closed his eyes and started yelling for my uncle.
See, yeah, and I don't know if it's just again his age getting to him at this point. Last time I heard it,
it's different. Yeah,
it was a little different. Was even after all of that happened, they started walking. He was still very curious on whether he saw the white strip or not at the other side of the river.
I
So
think yeah, that's the part I forgot, to be honest. Yeah.
He hid behind the bush, I want to say, and poked his head through. And standing there, her back towards him was, as he said it, La Llorona. Exactly, a woman. She was wet. She was in a wedding dress. And then right as she was turning around, that's when he freaked out and caught up with your uncle, his brother, and they got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I would too, dude. I'd be like, I'm outie, bro. Fuck this.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not
I ain't trying to fuck with that. I ain't dying today.
Yep. But yeah, so.
Ooh. Oh man, those stories always get me, dude. I swear.
Always.
They're good. I'm not gonna lie to you. I fucks with them.
Yeah. But now let's go with some more commonly known.
Yeah,
monsters.
These are a little bit more common.
Yeah. Some even new.
Some new, and some
fairly new.
Fairly new, yeah. So this one, I'm throwing it back old school, back from like 2010 again, dude. Slender Man, bro. Classic horror story, internet horror story right there, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure most people know who Slender Man is, or not know who he is, but like know of him, like seen his character, like, you know, the tall, skinny man with a suit on with no face, pretty much all white and stuff like that. You know, the abnormally, you know, he's like supernatural creature, pretty much, you know.
Super skinny, but like super tall at the same time.
Yeah. So people estimate that he's about like 6 to 10 feet tall, which is pretty accurate since he's mostly known to be in, like, you know, the forest and stuff like that. So he has to hide and stuff like that. So people say Slender Man himself has two different like behavior patterns when he chases people.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So he has like the classic, you know, the 8 pages of Slender, like the game, where he stalks the prey, stalks them until he impales them into a tree and removes their organs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then he has it like, I know the movie that came out in like, I think it came out last year in 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure if it came out early 2020. Definitely, I don't know, that more of a psychological horror, but it actually plays part with the lore of Slender Man, that he pretty much teases and makes people pretty much go insane, like makes them mad, and like makes them lose their shit, whereas he easily could charge at them and aggressively and make them vanish pretty much.
Oh, wow.
And he could even like control audio devices, you know, like how in the games he could control the camera and stuff like that, and like make static and he could pop up. So he has those supernatural powers pretty much.
Yeah. And he also has tentacles that, what is it, like 4 tentacles that
like he could,
from his back.
That he could reach for people and stuff like that. So
yeah, there's like no limit how far he could stretch them.
Yeah, dude, he's a really strange character for sure, with a bunch of rich lore and stuff like that like people created for him.
Like, what's his beginnings? Like, what's the beginning of his story? Do you know any of that?
Like his origins, he really doesn't have an origin like that. They just created him pretty much out of thin air, just telling a scary story of a few girls going into the forest and them noticing like a stick-like figure man from a distance, pretty much stalking them throughout their trip and whatever. And then slowly at night, they've been seeing him get closer and closer, and them apparently just one by one disappearing after that.
Oh.
But then the last few go madly insane, and that's what Slender Man likes to do because then
Yeah.
he goes extremely offensive and goes after them, pursues them. When
Yeah.
there's less than like if it's only one or two of them, he goes after them.
Yeah. There was also a story too where I guess they were like middle schoolers, I want to say.
That's from
That
the
they,
movie, I'm pretty sure.
is it? Oh, like they tortured and like I guess killed one of their classmates.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were questioned about it, they both answered separately.
The
They were
Slender
both in
Man.
separate rooms. Like when they questioned them, and they both said, "Oh, the Slender Man told me to do it," like nonchalantly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of his powers where he is actually like he has mind control powers pretty much.
Mm.
So he has like a kinetic abilities, and he can mind control people from a distance from anywhere,
Oh wow!
which
Like
is
I
I
know,
know, which is
yeah,
nuts.
I know about him. I know a little bit of those things from like when we played the video game, but I did not know like that the whole like he's bipolar first of all. His bipolarness, his like psychic ability type of things. That's cool.
And on top of that, he's immortal. He's
Well,
unkillable. I mean, that
they
we
always
know.
are. Yeah. And to go off of Slender Man, a more recent one that was just not recently, back in 2018, Mr. Siren Head. He was created because the artist was inspired by Slender Man.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a Canadian artist. The nicest, one of the nicest people. Created one of the creepiest monsters in this world. The artist is known as Trevor Henderson. So Siren Head is fairly new. I mean, there's still a lot of story lore is being created for him. There's like little mini games on the internet right now that Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie have all played on their channels.
I think one of the more famous things for Slenderman that I've seen, other than that indie game that got created for him, was one of the Fallout 4 mods that added Silent Hill. They added Siren Head as one of the little mini bosses within there.
Oh, really?
And that part, dude, I saw it, dude. Oh my god. It's because it's thick clouds, you can barely see him because he's through trees. Oh my god, it's creepy. But you can hear him coming because of the ominous sirens going on. Whatever.
So yeah, let me go into that.
Yeah, go for it.
So Siren Head is assumed to be at least 40 feet tall. He's super tall, so he blends into trees. Yeah, that's one of his like I want to say almost like his abilities. Like what like he's very stealthy. He could disguise himself within these tall, lanky trees and twigs and stuff because it's literally so if you want to like think about it, he's literally like a skeleton just super stretched out by the legs because he has almost like a rib cage kind of thing for a torso.
Yeah.
And then the rest of his body is just like his arms and his legs are super like elongated, but instead of a head, it's either like a little stick that has about 2 or 3 almost like sirens. Well, it is sirens, hence why he's called Siren Head. But for the most part, like he has no eyes, but he can still see. He's mostly stationary, obviously to like blend in. And so his thing is that from the sirens, he can like transmit the alarms you hear like in movies when a bomb is coming, like getting to safe areas, like those loud sirens. And then he could also use that ability if he's heard people talking. He could mimic their voices almost perfectly to try to lure his prey like alone so that he could pretty much hunt them in a way.
That's scary, dude.
Yeah. He hunts them. So also the sirens are his mouths pretty much. He has teeth, open mouth, tongues. This one I recommend to actually look up to get an idea of what I'm talking about. Super
this one
cool
is kind of hard to describe. This one's like, this one is like, oh, you gotta see it to believe it type of picture.
Yeah. It's not as scary as Jeff the Killer. But definitely.
I definitely don't agree with that. I think Siren is definitely scarier.
Really? I don't.
Aesthetically. Well, I mean, one that could exist real in life, it would be Jeff the Killer for sure. He would be scary in real life, but I'm talking about just aesthetically look. Siren Head, I think, looks scarier.
Oh. But because Siren Head is so tall and has these long legs, he's also super quick. He's super strong, even though he looks like there's no muscle structure to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Siren Head is definitely one of my more favorite, like, lore internet monster types of creatures that we've seen. Followed by Slenderman, obviously, but yeah, and even though Siren Head is very like scary and has his few things, he's also become a meme. There's a lot of like funny videos, especially on TikTok, where they like you'll see a city on the foreground, super misty, and then you'll see his shadow coming through the mist, like over the city, looking over the city. And normally during that point, you'll hear the sirens, but they made memes where they just play like other songs going over it. So it's like he'll start coming through and it's oh my god, how does the song go? Da woo dee da woo da 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 woo dee da. It's like that, or it's like, hey, now you're a rock star. It's like just like funny music played over, or even just like the like funny TikTok lines, I guess, that people just use to remake stuff. So at least there's a positive note for my monster.
I think he's definitely fucking creepy, and I think he definitely has some longevity, like Slender Man does. Mm-hmm. And I think he would make a creepier movie out of all these characters. To be honest, I would love to see like a little, like a mini movie or something like that, like a short movie,
a short film, a
short film, like like half an hour of like people just in the forest and this thing coming after them and stuff.
They go out camping, they hear noises, they split up.
Yeah, bro. Oh my god, write this down. Send this to Hollywood.
Trademark. You can't take it away from us, even though it's on a public podcast right now.
Trademarking that shit.
Honestly, I literally thought about the ending already.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They all dies. In my book, they all die.
They all die.
Yeah, they all die. I mean, they gotta all die.
The last two people are in the car. They're driving away, and they're about to make it into the city, like break past the trees and into like more open area where people are gonna be able to see Siren Head.
Mm-hmm.
And last second, right as they're about to cross the border, his arm just shoots out from like the trees and brings them back.
Hell yeah, dude.
It zooms out into the trees. You slowly hear the sirens quieting away.
Slowly walking away, like slowly going away.
You slowly hear the footsteps in the distance, the birds flying out of the trees, and then the screen just fades to black. Oh, I should go to Hollywood.
Definitely gotta.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sleeping tonight.
Yo, I got you.
Oh yeah, that's like the main image.
Yeah. No, but Siren Head is definitely. I think he's one of my favorite creepy pastas. One of the creepy internet's guys for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of my favorites. I don't know if you have another.
I mean,
another killer, or there's anything else do you want to bring up when it comes to like these creepy internet stories that we've heard or probably seen in videos on YouTube or anything like that?
I mean, I feel like we did a partially good job at explaining a lot of these stories, if that's what you want to put them as. But I definitely do recommend people to go and like either do their own research on like the stories that we've put out. Like if you know people from Central South America, ask if their parents have any stories of like La Llorona, or I mean, we also have like a whole bunch of other creatures. We have like La Chupacabra, there's the Mothman. I think there was one like the Donkey Lady that I was looking into for a little bit.
Smurfs.
Are they? Is that a thing?
No, they call it. I call them the Smurfs, but they're not the Smurfs. They're little. They look like little mushroom people, though. That's what, according to my mom, that's what they look like.
Really?
They're tiny people, and they literally like drive kids to come with them and stuff like that into the forest.
Oh, so they're like duendes.
Duendes, that shit. That's what it is.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like there's a whole bunch of like old school stories. These are just some of our favorites that we kind of really wanted to talk about. I enjoy
I think has scarier stories than the internet stories for sure.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think that's the end of our episode. It seemed, I mean, we spoke a lot. We got a lot of it done. So Leche, where can people find you?
They can find me at Leche Minuesa on Instagram.
I am at One Alpha Penguin on both Instagram and Twitter. Make sure to follow the podcast at TakeASip_pod. Also on Instagram and Twitter. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, where we are now posting the podcast as videos. I mean, there's not really much visuals, but it does have like a visual for our links. But yeah, do all the things. Drink some water. Stay safe.
Stay healthy, guys.
Stay healthy. Especially in Boston right now, numbers are going back up. Yep. So definitely keep your distance. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See you.